But, there's another possibility. And this one is yet another subtlety, but it is so cool once you get it. Okay? And I'm not sure this is what you're talking about, but it's something that I have to talk about. Okay. So sometimes I'll be working with a first timer, and they're doing focus in, and they elect to do it with inclusive noting. It's just, I give them the option, and it's like, hey, you know, that's going to be sort of complicated. No, it's natural. I want to do it that way. Great. So we're doing see in, hear in, feel in, see, hear in, see, feel in, hear, feel in, all in, gone, or all rest, gone. And the person reports this. It's not all rest. It's not, but I can't tell you what it is, okay? I can't say it's see in, hear in, feel in, or what combination, but it's not all rest. It's not that there's no image, no talk, no emotion in the body. It's not all rest, but I can't tell you what's going on. Sounds like a problem, but actually, it's not a problem. It's the beginning of something really cool. What's happening, what you say is, okay, you're not aware of explicit image, talk, or emotional body, but those spaces are also not in a restful state. What's going on? Well, what do you think is going on?
Subtle processing.
Yeah, subconscious.
Subconscious processing. So the whole Western psychological tradition is based on Freud's, quote, discovery of the subconscious. Well, guess what? People in India knew about the subconscious 2,000-3,000 years before there was a Freud in Europe. And they knew how to observe the subconscious in real time. Now, you can't observe the subconscious, visual, auditory, and somatic the way you observe the conscious, because by definition, it's subconscious. However, you can be aware when a burst of activity arises in the subconscious thought and emotion, and you can be aware when that burst of activity passes. How are you aware of that? Well, sometimes you're aware because of a shimmering on the screen that tells you that the Rolodex is being flipped through deep down, where there's this sort of undercurrent of talk. It's massively parallel, like listening to a room full of people. You can't make out any strand of a conversation, but you know stuff's going on down there. Same for this sort of like idling in your emotional centers. Nothing's engaged. You can't say it's anger, fear, sadness, but the emotional centers are sort of on idle. You can actually see it in a baby. You can see the amoeba that is the idling of the limbic circuits in a baby. The baby's not crying, the baby's not smiling, okay? But the baby's sort of this kind of stuff, okay? That's their body responding to the subthreshold activations of the limbic system. Okay, it's just expanding and contracting. Well, it's still there in adults. So one way that you can know, that you can monitor in real time these systems, is by noting sort of subtle activity, subtle flow within them. However, this is the part that's really cool and really subtle. You may not even be aware of that undercurrent of something, but you're aware that image space is tugging you. Talk space is tugging you. Emotional feeling space is tugging you, but there's no awareness of any activity, but there's an awareness of a tug of space. That's why it's so important to have a sense of the locations of the spaces. So when it's not, you're doing focus in and it's not all rest, you will notice that the non-rest is that you're being tugged towards one, two, or all three of those spaces. That is the cue that there is at that instant, the subconscious mind has started to activate in one, two, or all three of those spaces. And you note that as see in, hear in, feel in, even though, okay, so it's not all rest. There's no explicit activity that you're aware of, not even a vibratory flow, but there is this tug. That's why this triangle, okay, there's a tug here, there's a tug here, there's a tug down here, or all three at once, or what have you. That tug, when your emphasis is on detecting inner activity, that counts as the subtlest level of inner activity. And you just say yes. Even though you don't know what you're saying yes to, you say yes to the tug. And guess what? At some point, that's all that the subjective system needs. It just needs you to say yes to its amoeboid subliminal flux. And you go back to that state of the baby. And that's the extent to which the ego needs to be a thing for you, which ain't much of a thing. This was hugely subtle. Don't worry, I'll say it again and again